Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. If Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hello, welcome to Journey to Joy Live. We are on a Wednesday this week, and this is for episode 133. No is a full sentence. The joy of protecting your energy. And I'm so happy to have Dr. Jen Fry. She is the CEO of JenFryTalks and author of I Said No. And when I say it that way, I'm thinking about my 2-year-old who is very confident when he just says no. It's like he builds it up from beneath and then he just says it and he's so confident about that. So anyway, welcome, Dr. Jen.
Thank you, friend. Appreciate you having me here.
Of course. Well, thank you for coming. And so I just want to know, well, everybody who's listening would like to know more about you. You are a psychologist, correct?
No, a sport geographer.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Well, tell us more.
Bachelor's, but that was decades ago.
A sport geographer. Okay, so tell me how you got into that, and then how did you get into the world of no?
Yeah, so it's kind of this. I'd say the first thing is that, you know, back in the day, a person would hold a job for 40 years, get their gold watch, get their pension, and leave, and that world is gone. And so, you know, one of the things I would tell the people listening is that there's going to be so many different iterations of you. Yep. And you have to be prepared for that. I think so many people come into this, right? They leave college and they're like, this is the thing I want to do. I'm going to do it forever. And then when the different iterations of them show up, it really scares them. This is saying that this is a normal part of life, especially now. You're going to find different industries, different jobs. And that's kind of what happened to me. I was a college volleyball coach for about 15 years, coached all over the U.S., coached for a national championship, coached at HBCU, literally coached at all levels. And then about 2013 or 14, I started to get more interested in race. I also, to take a step back, I'm from Arizona. I was born in Canada. When I lived in Arizona, I was from 5 minutes from the Mexican border. So mom was white. We didn't really talk about race, right? We were, 40, 50% undocumented. I was undocumented from Canada. So we didn't have these conversations. I lived 2 miles from a native reservation, like those type of in-depth racial conversations we really didn't have. And so I went to school in Alabama, had some, but when I was coaching at Elon, I started to get more involved in it. And there came to be a point where it was like, I really like this thing and I want to do it more, but I have this career. And what am I going to do? Because my head coach didn't seem too interested in like what I was doing. I was getting on committees. I was doing all these things. And I started to also feel very resentful of my coaching volleyball. Because if anyone knows, when you coach college your whole life, you don't get to turn off your cell phone. It's a no-no. You don't get to say, I'm going to turn my cell phone off for 10 days and disappear. It doesn't. Yeah. And I started to feel very resentful about that life. I wanted to travel. I was missing friends' weddings, anniversaries, parties. And so there comes a point where you just have to decide if you're going to jump or not. And that's really what I did. Was I was more resentful staying in this life than I was just saying, let me just jump. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just know I don't want to do this. And I think also, let me preface, at that point, I was single. I still am single, but I had properties and I had a cat. So I didn't have anyone to caretake. I didn't have kids. And whenever people ask me about leaving my career, I always put that caveat. Like you have to be truthful with the information you give. You can't be like, just leave. It'll work for you. No. If you have kids, if you got caretake your parents, no.
You gotta think it through. Yeah, plan.
I jumped. I had a savings in case anything went wrong with the house. And I had built up a really good network. And so from that, I went to I was doing like committees at Elon. And one of the guys who ran it asked me if I wanted this temporary job in the diversity center. And interestingly enough, I got fired a day before my 90 days was like going to put me to like full time a day before my 90s. If anyone's been fired, you kind of remember like what you were wearing. You remember everything. And interestingly enough, after that, I went and worked at Duke. And when I got to Duke, I sent him a thank you note for hiring me and giving me the opportunity because I wanted him
Oh,
to see I was on my feet, right? I wanted him to see like I'm fine. And it was funny because he sent me a text message and he was like, "Thank you for the note. That shows your character. If you need anything, let me know." I'm like, "You fired me. What are you talking about?"
yeah.
And one of my good
It
friends
wasn't a
worked there,
layoff.
and every
Hmm.
single time he saw her, he would say, "How's Jen doing? She really like impressed me with that note she sent." And so I
Great.
went. I was working at Duke, and
Hmm.
I was doing a lot of stuff with race and sport. And a friend of mine said, "You should look at becoming a professional speaker." And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." And I was like, "Okay." So
Right.
I started cultivating my website. I started trying it, right, building the skill. I did a TED talk, and
Hmm.
in 2018, someone said, "You have 2 masters, you can't get a third, you have to get a PhD." And I was like,
Oh.
I don't know what I didn't have a clue really what I mean, at that point, I'm 37, 38. I
Hmm.
don't know what a PhD is, what it does, but I was like, "Okay." And so I was able to get
Oh,
in. I'm a sport geographer. I got it from Michigan State. I did my dissertation on
Michigan State. You know, that's where I went to med school.
it is? Oh, go
Yes.
look. Yes, I love that.
Good.
So I did my dissertation on the racial experiences of professional Black female volleyball players in Europe. I did a
Nice.
403-page dissertation. I did probably one of the only
Wow.
theoretical framework for Black female athletes.
Hmm.
I did my PhD in 3 years, and, for me, it was like, I mean, a moment of probably becoming one of the only sport geographers in the world. And like my mom passed away. I'm doing all
Mm.
this race work. Like it was like everything that I'm traveling
Yeah.
like 2 weeks out of the month
Hmm.
during COVID. Like it was the wildest.
Oh.
But like I think the biggest thing is that there's gonna be just so many different iterations of you, and you just gotta hang on for the ride and not try and stop it because you're afraid.
For sure, that fear can stop us, guilt can stop us, and just feeling like you said, feeling like we got to be in the career that we started in the beginning for the rest of our lives, and that
Yeah.
just doesn't happen anymore. And that's really good that you brought that up because that's a spinoff of last week's episode. We were talking about the career reset and how sometimes we just need to reset our careers, whether we're changing a different path within our career versus just completely changing our career, and that's okay.
Oh, 100%. And the thing I always tell people, if you're gonna do that, you have to stay in the job you're in to figure out what you want to do next. I think
Hmm.
there's like this whole idea of like just jump and the parachute will appear. The parachute appears when you've done the work, right? Like when you
Yeah.
you don't want to be in this career, but you're not sure what the next one is, you have
Yeah.
to do some work to figure that out. And then the parachute appears, right? So for me, I
Yeah.
was networking, I was doing so much to
Hmm.
learn, and I think that's the thing that some people don't realize because you might think, "Oh, I really wanna do this career," and then you leave a decent job to do this one career and you hate it because you didn't do any research, it looked really sexy on the outside, right?
Yeah.
Like, it looks super sexy, and then you get into it. Like, there was this one woman I was talking to, and she was talking about how, um, she really wanted to get into I can't think of what she wanted to get into.
Mhm.
The career she was at, I was like, "Well, tell me about the job you're in." She was like, "Well, it's not bad." She's like, "My boss doesn't micromanage. I get to do what I want. I get to be on committees. I get to do
Oh,
all this stuff."
yeah, that's great.
And I was like, "So what is it you want to do?" And she named it, and I said, "So you want to leave 80% for this passion of 20%. And then when you get into this passion,
Mm.
you might hate your boss, you get micromanaged, but you're doing your passion." I said, "Girl, find a committee.
Yeah, the lifestyle was better,
Find
it
a committee."
seems.
Yeah, like
It's
people don't
tough.
realize that this whole sexy thing of like doing your passion, if you got
You gotta get paid for it.
you gotta get paid well, right? Like if you got 80% rocking, figure out within that
Mhm.
80% where you can find your passion. Figure that
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes time and research, you can figure it out for sure. So how did all that turn into, "Let me start telling people about no"? I know in the beginning of your book, I believe it was in the prologue, where you started talking about that's what you do anyway. You know how to say no. Apparently, people know that you are that person that are okay with saying no. So you just decided to write a book on that. Tell us more about that.
So what happened was that I was doing a lot of DI work, and in probably about 22, I started to see right the landscape changing, and
Yeah.
I started to pay more attention in my engagements and to
Mhm.
see where people leaned in, where they're more
Mm.
interested, where they wanted to talk, and a
Yeah.
lot of it had to do around the beginning with like ground rules and conflict and all of that. So
Yes.
one of the things I started to realize was that we can't talk about inclusion unless people have a really good understanding of conflict. I think
Mm-hmm.
you can talk about the movie you watched, the book you read, but until you're willing to tell your grandma or grandpa that they're wrong, none of that stuff
It's
matters.
hard.
And so, right, like, and so for me, I have a great skill of helping people navigate through hard, uncomfortable shame and guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to just do more work on that and to say, what does this look like to make it breathe and be bigger and really help people through that? Because what we tend to see with women is that they have this fear of saying no, of people
Yeah.
pleasing, of not self-advocating, and they're the only losers, right? No one, they're not winning when they're not saying no. They're not winning when they're not negotiating. They're not winning when
Negotiation is
they're
hard.
putting everything on their shoulder. They're not winning. Someone else
Mm-hmm.
is. And so it kind of came this of like I tell people, you cannot, like, you can't peer pressure me. Like, it's not gonna work. Like, you go waste it somewhere else. Like, I'm not.
Good.
And
Yeah.
I just, like, for me, started to realize that how can I help more women and more people start to be okay with making people upset, self-advocating? Like, how do I help them
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that? And that's where I started turning it with my topic and then ultimately the book.
Yeah, because that's the thing. People feel scared that they're gonna make someone feel bad or look like a jerk. I mean, that's in your tagline, how to have a backbone and boundaries without being a jerk. And for women, when we try to be assertive, we're looking like bitches all of a sudden. But if a man does it, they're just assertive and oh, that's good, right? So, but is that why so many of us Black women feel guilty for saying no? I mean, even when we are overextended and should say no?
Well, I think there's a few layers to it. I
Mhm.
think the first thing, like, I'm going to kind of go point by point. I think the first thing when you talk about how men are look assertive, but then when
Yeah.
women do it, they're bitches.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm a bitch then. Okay,
Hey.
right? Like, I think it's like,
Hey,
okay, well, like so
your definition of a bitch, right?
like, so many people are so afraid. Oh my god, if they think I'm a bitch, okay. As long
Mm.
as I know that I didn't talk crazy to you, right?
Yeah.
I was respectful. Like, as long as I know in that way, I can walk away knowing that how I treated you was how I would want to be treated.
Mm.
Like, so many people are worried. Oh my gosh, what if they think I'm a bitch? Girl, you asked for extra tartar sauce. Like, what are we talking about? What are you worried about? Like, and like, that's the thing, is that people are so worried and so conditioned to be afraid that they won't
Wow.
themselves. And I'm like, uh, okay, so they think I'm a bitch. That's
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday for me. And
Yeah.
when you develop that strength, I think it
Yeah.
hits you differently, where you don't allow those words to be weaponized to you. If that
Mhm.
makes sense, like, because people will do that, they'll use a word to weaponize
To
it
make you feel bad, to make you feel guilty.
to make you feel good, to also silence you. Because if you're sitting there asking for, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. So I'm
Mhm.
at a restaurant and it was a happy hour, all you could eat and drink, and it was $30. Sitting on the
Mhm.
website,
Mhm.
it's sitting on the menu. I go up and pay, and the woman was like, "Oh, it's 35." I was like, "But on the
Mhm.
website it says 30." And she was like, "Yeah, but they put it 35 in the register." And I was like, "Okay, I'll wait till you change it to 30." And
Yeah.
there's this woman who's sitting at the bar, and she was like, to the waitress, she was like, "Girl, you're doing fine. It's okay. You're doing fine." And I'm thinking, uh, what are we doing here? I'm literally asking for the price on the menu. I'm not asking for a discount. I'm just asking for the
Yeah.
price on the menu. And the person kept saying these things, and that's a way to try and silence me, right? To make me feel bad. To be like,
Yeah.
I'm doing too much with the waitress. I'll just pay and be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Girl, I'm just saying the price you agreed it is. And so this person kept saying that, and I was like, I'll just wait. I wasn't yelling, and she
You're
was like,
right.
I'll have to get the manager. Okay.
Okay. I mean, you put it in wrong.
And I just waited. And right, like, and people will try and peer pressure you out of advocating for yourself. Many people
Yeah.
probably would have been like, this person thinks I'm being rude. I'm just gonna take it. And I was like, no,
That's
I'm
what
not
people
being rude,
do.
I'm not yelling. I'm literally saying, this is the price on the menu. You agreed, I agreed. Now
Yeah.
let's change it. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing about it, is that people will get, like, language weaponized to make them quiet, to not self-advocate. And I'm like,
Um,
girl, that's not gonna work. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
because
get
some people at the end of the day, maybe they don't have time to wait, or they might feel like, oh, well, it is just $5, or just feel like they should just give in. But it's okay to stand up for yourself. And again, you were calm, you were patient and just willing to wait. So it wasn't like you were yelling at them and having attitude. So like
And I think also
stood up for yourself.
people, their level of uncomfortableness with conflict, they will put it onto you.
There it is.
Right. So if I'm uncomfortable with the interchange because I'm not comfortable advocating for myself, I'm going to do something to stop you from advocating for yourself. And that's why I tell people, like, just because you're uncomfortable with the situation, if it's not violent, if it's not harassing, let them figure it out. And you don't have to input yourself in because you're uncomfortable. And people will do that. And it's like, you don't have to be the main character with everything.
Yeah.
You could sit there, okay, the client's not cussing, they're not being rude. Let me just eat my fries.
Yeah, I have definitely gotten feedback like that. If I'm in a restaurant and I might say, "Oh, this came out like this, it should be like that," and I'd say it really nice with a smile on my face, and I've gotten responses like, "Oh, look at you, you're being evil with a smile on your face." I'm like, "Evil? What the heck? I'm just telling them this." I forget the exact situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that reminds me of that. But
because
you're empowered to stand up for yourself and get what
yeah,
you want. But it's not like we're cussing you out,
people are super uncomfortable with that. They'll be like,
Yeah.
"Don't make it a big deal. The waitress is busy." Okay, but she can get my tartar sauce, right? Like, that's the thing, is that people want you to make yourself small because they wouldn't do it themselves.
Mhm,
Right? And
mhm.
they'll do the thing of like, "Man, you're better than me. I wouldn't do it." You're right. I guess I am better than you because I'm going to ask for my tartar sauce, right? Like, okay, I guess
Yeah,
I am. And that people get pissed when I do that. Okay, I guess I am. I'm just going to advocate for myself, baby. Like,
and be
you trying
confident
to
about
tell
it.
me, yeah, you trying to tell me what you wouldn't do is not going to stop me from doing what I need to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And so in the world of all of us high achievers, whether you're a mom boss, wife, mom boss, whatever you are, you're doing a lot
Yeah.
and you're being everything for everyone. You're caregiver for your parents, you have kids and things like that. You're overextending yourself. Maybe you're a people pleaser. You can't say no for whatever reason. And you often talk about saying no isn't rejection, right? It's protection. What does that actually look like in real life?
So I think we have to change the wording. It's not that you can't say no, it's that you're choosing not to say no.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people try and make it seem like they have no power. Right? If
Mm.
I say I just can't do it, you're lying. You can. You just don't like the outcome. That's the difference. You don't like the consequences, but you can. And I think that's the first thing, is being able to understand that there are going to be consequences when you say no. People are going
Mhm.
to be upset, people are going to be frustrated, and most times the first no is actually the easiest no. And it's a
Oh,
surprise.
really?
Yeah, because okay, so Doc, let's go. We're gonna go. We
Mhm.
have Thanksgiving coming up. Okay, Thanksgiving's coming up in 2 months, and I am exhausted. I know I am used to cooking 6 sides and a turkey.
Mhm.
That's what I usually bring to Thanksgiving. Everyone loves my food, but I have just been so exhausted, and I know when Thanksgiving comes, I just want to rest. So I call mom. I'm like, "Hey, mom, I am just exhausted, and I think
Yeah.
this Thanksgiving I'm just gonna bring 2 sides."
Mhm.
So that's my first right. I'm telling you right there. So then, what does mom
Yeah.
say? "Oh, but I really like your mac and cheese and your yams and your green beans and your mashed potatoes and your Uncle John likes da, 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 da. Can you please just da, da, da?" And I'm like, "No, mom." So that's the first. So
Can't do
then,
it.
guess what happened? Dad calls me.
I know
"Jen,
what you mean.
no, I like your blah 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 and your pie and your turkey and all of this. Can't you just make all of that?" No, I
Uh,
can't. I'm only bringing two. Then brother calls me, "Jen, I love when you bring your apple pie and your pecan pie and you bring the yams and then you bring the potato salad and da, 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 da." So now it's my third no. And now I'm starting to get tired. And then
yeah.
grandma calls me, "I'm not going to be around a lot,
Oh my gosh, the guilt trip.
right? I'm not, and I really like your sides of da, 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 your turkey and no one, maybe no one can make the turkey like you. No one can.
Oh, no, not
So
that one.
now it's on the fourth no. And then
Somebody's
I've
gotta
told my
learn.
kids, right? And now
Mhm.
they're upset because whenever Uncle George tries to make the mac and cheese, he does such a bad job. You're the only one who could do it. So now I've had to keep saying no, no, no. And guess
Listen,
what happens?
yeah.
What I finally do?
You end up doing it
Fine.
because you
I'll
feel
do it.
bad, and now you're overextended, you're tired, you're burnt out, you're drained.
And
Now you
I
upset everybody.
I'm miserable going up to
Mhm.
Thanksgiving because I
Mhm,
did what
mhm.
I wanted to do. I'm exhausted and I have to make all of this food and these
Mm-hmm.
pies. So all week before Thanksgiving, I'm preparing. Then the week
Just
of
you.
Thanksgiving, when I just wanted to relax, I'm doing all these things. My kids aren't helping me, right? Like all this
Well,
stuff,
they gonna help if you gonna end up saying yes. But yeah, I get the scenario
right? And
though.
so now I'm overextended, I'm exhausted, and I'm going to Thanksgiving just pissed off at everyone. Here's the food,
Yeah.
and I'm mad. And that's why I say the first no is the easiest.
That I
You
get
have
what
to
you
be
mean.
prepared for all the other pushing on your boundaries to be able to say, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I understand. I'm not doing it.
Better
And
call
to
honey
do,
baked ham. They got the sides.
yep, go get some mac and cheese. You got 2 months to figure it out. And so that's the problem is that when
Give them
you've
the
learned to
recipe.
know before,
Hmm.
people are going to keep pushing on your boundaries because they figure if we badger you enough, we'll be able to get you to say yes.
Which wow is that bullying and peer pressure? Let's think of that.
And like it's the badgering. If I say it,
Yeah.
this is that we know Jen will be mad, but she'll do it, right? She'll have an attitude, but she'll do it. We'll be fine. She'll do it,
Oh, if we
right?
keep telling her, just like a toddler who, like, when you ask, but please,
Yeah,
no, 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 but please, they just make it seem like if you just continue to say please, that you'll say yes. And of course, me as a mom, yes, I do end up saying yes. But I know you need to learn how to be consistent because all that does is create a child who's spoiled and just yells and says no and all those things. So, same with adult life. We have to learn how to say no so we won't be drained and so they won't continue to badger you. Like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
But
Because
how do we consistently do that? Like, is that a real life scenario? That's an example.
I mean, that's a real. That think about how many families and women that happens
Well,
to.
it is a real life. Okay, I was wondering if it would actually happen to you. Because how
Oh
does
no,
that
girl, I
person?
don't cook. They no one trusts me, girl. You do not want me bringing food. They be like, no, Jen, do not bring
Well,
stuff.
it's a great example. So, how does that person continue to say no despite all that and not feel the guilt? Because that family is really making them feel guilty on purpose,
You can
especially the
feel
grandma.
you can feel the guilt and still say no, right? Like you have to sit with those emotions. And well, it just might, might be their last time. What if you think of all these hypothetical situations? And what if you die in the friggin' kitchen because you kept overextending yourself? Right? Like you have to be able to sit with the emotions and still be able to say, like, this is really hard right now. I feel guilty as hell. And I still have to say no, right? Like sit with the emotions. Don't
Yeah.
ignore them. Don't pretend like they don't occur. You can sit with them. You just don't have to act on them. So no one's gonna the guilt is not gonna dissipate. It is not gonna disappear. And honestly, the closer you get to Thanksgiving, you're gonna even feel more of it. They're gonna make
Yeah.
little passive aggressive comments. Man, wish you were bringing the food. Oh, guess we're gonna have to have right.
After
And
a
you just have
while, it'll stop.
oh well, like there's right. You just have to do that and be okay that you're gonna feel it as it gets closer, but you have to be able to weather that storm.
Right.
Because
In other words, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some backlash. And that's what we fear is that backlash, whether it's.
and if they know all it takes is grandma calling you, that's guess what's gonna happen,
Mm-mm-mm.
right?
Ooh,
Like
that's deep.
they know, and so you have to be willing to weather the storm and say no. And you're gonna hear the slight comments and be like, okay, all right, like I
Right.
feel like someone's like, oh, you're acting like a bitch, okay.
Right. And what we really need to think of is how saying no actually creates more space for joy, rest, and purpose. So that's the thing. We don't necessarily imagine that how it's like. So we just continue to say yes, 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 get the burnout. So let's talk about how does learning to say no actually create that space for your joy?
Because you have to learn that in reality you're the most important person in your world, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of women tend to forget that
Mm-hmm.
because if
Yep.
you're not there, what does it mean for everyone else? And I think that's the main thing,
Mm-hmm.
that you have to understand that you're in women tend to put themselves last amongst
Yeah.
everything, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what we're taught to be the superhero, to
Yep.
be everywhere. That's like in youth sports I see these moms who feel like they have to go and watch every single practice, be at every single tournament. Girl, go get a pedicure. Go
Mm-mm.
live your life. And
Mm-mm.
these parents will be like, "But I love watching my kid. I love that." You have to be important to you. And so many times we forget being how important it is to be think of us as important. And so
Yeah.
the guilt is going to be hard, but when you keep setting boundaries, you're creating more space for you. So now Thanksgiving can be where you get to enjoy it. And it might really suck the first time.
Yeah.
Or, one of my good friends and I, we went to Cancun for Thanksgiving.
Mm.
She has a 20, was he 21, 22, and literally last year she had surgery. She just had a horrible, she cooked for everyone. She had a horrible, horrible
Oh,
Thanksgiving. And she
yeah.
was like, this is the last time. And so this
Yeah.
year, um, she says like I'm not cooking. And her son was like, but I love our family tradition. And she literally said, you're gonna have to figure out your own traditions.
Well, or just learn. I mean, also you can send the recipe because that's one way to get beyond the guilt. It's like, okay, here's a recipe, learn how to cook because eventually you have to pass that tradition on to the next generation
100%.
anyway.
So we literally we did Cancun for Thanksgiving. She was like,
That's
we were both
dope.
like, this is the best thing. And that's what I also tell people. If you're worried about the guilt, stay home. And and I know for some people it's easier said than done, but like you get to make these choices. No one is forcing you to go to Thanksgiving. No one. And people don't like to be in charge of their own choices. As weird as this to sound. So they'll say,
Mm,
well, no, they're forcing me. I have to go. No, you don't. No one is forcing
mm-mm.
you. You are grown up with
You
a
can't
mortgage.
say no.
You are the person who won't say no, but no
Yeah.
one's forcing you, not at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's really good. Okay, awesome. So, I mean, we want people to buy your lovely book, and it is
Yes.
on your website, JenFryTalks.com, correct? I ended up yeah, I ended up getting it on the other place, sorry,
It's okay.
Amazon, because I wanted it in time. You know, I
Yes.
wanted to be able to flash it, right?
Yes.
What else is at JenFry Talks? What do people get out of coming to your website?
Yeah. Well, so you can go, you can buy the book, and when you buy a book from me, you get stickers and a bookmark. You get
Oh,
some good. Yeah, I'm just saying. Let me see. You get a bookmark like this.
nice.
You get a sticker like this.
Look at that. That's you.
That's me. So you do get some swag. It also just kind of talks about the stuff I do, keynotes, workshops, facilitation. You just get to see me in action and
Oh,
really, yeah, see what I
nice.
do with conflict.
Ah, that's really cool. Okay, gotcha. So there's different workshops that
Yep.
people can sign up for. You do
Well, so
speaking
like you can bring me
engagements.
in for your businesses, your company, stuff I
Hmm.
do. Yep.
Ah, that's so awesome. So somebody's sitting here listening, like, oh my gosh, you know, she makes it seem like it's easy to say no. Sounds like she's been saying no a lot and she's really good at it. For somebody who's literally not good at it at all, what kind of advice can you offer them?
I would
Especially if
say
they're a people pleaser.
yes. So I would say so there's two things: micro advocacy and
Mhm.
time. So micro advocacy is you go to a restaurant, right? And they get your order wrong and you're like, I ordered, I don't know, French fries instead of mashed
Ah, yeah,
potatoes,
yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah.
like micro advocacy where there's a
Mhm.
low barrier to entry. If you go to the nail salon and they pick the wrong color, tell them it's the wrong color. Instead of you taking the color and then you hate the color, you're like, it's
Or
fine.
you get your hair done, you're like, "Oh, no."
Yeah, and then you go spend $50 somewhere else to fix the color.
Yeah.
Just go and have them fix the color. Like, so
Yes.
micro advocacy, I think, is the biggest thing when it
Mhm.
comes to when it comes to learning to say no, because you're building that up.
I
Think
like that.
about different things that people, right? Small things that people want you to do.
Yeah, that's
Unfortunately, I
good.
can't do that. And just being able to do that. The second
Mhm.
thing I mentioned with time when it comes to people pleasers is that when you give people more lag time, it's easier to take a no than it is if you give them a short lag time. So,
Mhm.
meaning, say we're going on a group trip, and um, I know 2 months before I can't go. So instead of me just being like, "Okay, girl, I'm excited. I've known for 2 months. I haven't bought my ticket. I haven't paid.
Exactly.
I know for 2 months. And I keep, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it.
Oh, no,
And
no,
now it's
no.
a week before, and they're like, "Hey,
Ooh.
girl, have you bought your ticket?" Actually, I can't go.
Oh,
Now,
no. You're
right?
increasing expectation.
So
Ooh.
now I'm pissed because
Mhm.
the budget's based on you. No one else can room, right? We can't put three in a room. Like all these things
Last
because
minute.
you thought it was a people pleasing moment. You just telling me you're going to go. No, instead now I'm even more pissed. Versus
Yeah, it's the
two
opposite of
months
pleasing.
before, you're like, I can't make it. And what I tell people is, do not give hope. Meaning, some people might say 2 months out, well, maybe if I can swing it. So then the other person's like, okay, I'll just keep the room just in case. Do not
Yeah.
give people hope. Say, no, I can't go. And then if maybe you can, then like, okay, I'm gonna try and figure it out. But don't give hope. More time. Yes, someone's gonna be disappointed. And you have to be okay with someone emoting. You have to be okay with someone being like, I'm sad, I'm mad. They wanted you to go. Of course they're going to have emotions. You you would be distraught if you told your best friend you weren't going and they're like, "Okay." You'd be like, you want them to
And
be
you want them to have a reaction and actually want you
yes.
to go. So
Yes.
yeah, they should have feelings. They love
Yes.
you. They want you there.
100%.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're going to give bad news, expect that people are going to emote. And if you give bad news 2 months out, the emoting is going to be very different than if you give it a week out.
That's
Then the
good.
emotion you're
Yeah.
afraid of is going to happen.
Yes, that is really good advice. That reminds me because a friend of mine who invited me to this retreat in Mexico, and I'm like, "Oh, a retreat in Mexico? That actually sounds really good." But then I find out it's in like the like Mexico, like in the center, and it's 3 hour drive from the airport, and I'm just like, no. Like I said no right away. Like I was not about to drag that along, and she understood, and I'm just it was over. It was done. So I remember a time where I wouldn't have like I probably still wouldn't have went, but I probably would have dragged it on a little bit before
Yeah.
actually saying no. But so that's really good. I like that advice.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm asked to do something like say a speaking engagement or a workshop or something like that, and I really can't do it, a lot of times I feel like, well, I gotta say yeah, because first of all, it's for my business, but also like if I say no, then they won't want to ask me. But I've learned that no, it's okay to not overextend yourself. And I just say, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just think of me next time because I still would love to, be in your notes on who for speaker or whatnot. So yeah, there's no reason to feel like, oh my God, they won't ask me again.
Yeah. And one thing that I do is I do not take speaking engagements that I'm going to be resentful at what I'm getting paid. That's
Mm,
what you'll see is that someone will take in speaking
yeah.
engagement for the cost and they'll be pissed off.
Yeah.
You signed the contract. You don't get to be pissed off at what you wrote your name on. You don't get to, no.
That part. Yeah, and being able to negotiate what you get paid. So,
If
and
you
if you're
don't
not getting
ask,
paid what you want, it's all right to say no.
yep.
Yeah, yeah. Because some people are starting out and they're not charging, for speaking engagements. But once you get into that, then that's easier to do that.
Well, and I tell people who are just starting out, don't charge because you're not good. Just because you spoke in front of your church, told to be there, right? Like they have no option. You're not good. And that's the thing that I remember this one guy was like, "Oh yeah, Microsoft brought me in to speak to these students. I should charge them." I was like, "Bruh, you weren't good. Like once you charge someone money, you have to be good. And just because they brought you in, like get the
Oh
experience,
my God. Yeah.
because you're not going to be good at the beginning. No one is.
That's awesome. Okay. So, as we're talking about being able to feel more comfortable saying no, any other advice that you have for listeners who are just like, I can't do this because the key here is that no is a complete sentence and you really don't have to explain. But a
Yeah,
lot of us end up explaining on and on and on why we've said no when we really don't have to.
yeah. I just know that emotions are going to come with it. You just have to learn how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put on your big girl undies and you have to learn how to deal with emotion. Because what
Yeah.
happens is that if you're a people pleaser,
Yeah.
you end up pissing off more people because you don't do stuff well. You're not happy when you do it. You're resentful, like all that stuff. Like the people pleasing is just you saying yes. That's not really people pleasing because I know so many people who will say yes and then
And
don't.
don't follow through. They just say it to say it. That's not
Yeah,
actually people pleasing.
no,
Like
it's
maybe in
not.
the moment because you said
Yeah, and then you're
yes.
ruining your reputation of just not
Ooh,
stuff, right? Like
not following through.
yeah, because you're not people pleasing. I think that's the thing of like you're not saying yes and putting out this excellent product. You're just saying yes and putting out some mediocre stuff to get it done. And then you end up ruining the relationship way more than if you just said, no, thank you. I don't have the time.
Mhm. Yeah, and so it sounds like saying no is an emotional regulation thing. You said you gotta learn how to deal with emotion. You obviously deal with people in conflict,
Yeah.
and that's a part of saying no as well. So it's a matter of looking into yourself, get the therapy if you need it, but
Yes. Get
emotional
therapy.
regulation.
Get therapy, please. Yes.
Yeah, people pleasing is a thing. It's not an official clinical diagnosis, but it's a thing. And so if you have difficulty, therapy will help for sure.
And if you're afraid that you saying no is going to lose some relationships. That means that all they want to do is use you.
Mm,
Right? Like if you're, well,
wow.
if I say no
Yeah.
to them, they're not going to talk to me. Well, good,
Why are you with them if that's the case?
good. Because
Yeah,
now
that's
you're
good.
filtering people out who just wanted to use you. That's a good.
Mm. It's like a conditional relationship at that point. Like
Yeah,
they should be okay with hearing no.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If
Oh,
you're so afraid of
that's
that,
good.
then don't have those friendships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one to end on because a lot of times people aren't realizing the value or devalue of their relationships and that you need to pick
Mm,
different relationships that people are using you.
yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
not cool. So where we can find you is JenFryTalks.com.
Yeah, ta-da! That makes a little arrow. I don't know how to do it. There we go.
Oh yeah, like which way? Which direction?
This way, this way, this way. There we go. There we go. I try to have a PhD. There we go, right there.
There, you did it. That's so funny. And also everywhere, Gen Fry Talks
Everywhere.
is where you are. So that's good and consistent
Yep.
with your branding. And so before you go, you're not letting loose yet, just yet. I ask every guest what your own personal journey to joy has been like. So tell us quickly what your own personal journey to joy has been like.
Oh my gosh, my own personal um, journey to joy is when the hard thing pays off.
Oh yeah.
Like when that thing happens, you're like, oh man, this right, and like and the work you put into it, the sweat, the tears, the stressing out, the shoulda wouldas, like all the stuff in it, and when that stuff it pans out, you're like, man.
Mm,
So I think that to me, and it's not just like with like work, but I think also with like relationships and friendships and the work
mm,
you put in and it pans out. You're like, this was that it was worth it. It was worth that hard part.
mm-hmm. Really good. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Jen, for coming on Journey to Joy Live.
Thank you. I
Appreciate
appreciate you.
you. All right. Have a good one.
You too.
This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I'm licensed in 12 states. I accept Aetna in Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoy Note to help you on your wellness journey. Also check out Inspire Joy for the wife, mom, boss to help you balance it all without losing yourself. Better yet, get the full Joy bundle for just $45. Remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, may you continue to transform stress into joy.